Ladies and gentlemen, this 4 o'clock, so I just called the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting to order. May I have the motion for the minutes? Move, second, call the question. Those in favor, opposed, motion carry. The next meeting will be on June the 22nd, same place, same time. Is there any addition to the agenda? Michael?
Yeah, thank you. To the chair, I'd like to request 3 short items to be added. The first one is, I think it's best to call it Southeast Richmond Beaches. So the southeast part of Richmond, past like number 6 road and the beach, the riverfront. Mm-hmm. So anyway, a discussion around the cleanup. There's been some news stories and exposure of some garbage and plastics found coming out of the beach. Okay. So that's one. The second item was Hamilton traffic calming, and it was related to Smith and where ducks have been hit, and just the staff consideration on traffic calming measures. I know there's been some construction of a sewer main on one side of the road, so I know there's already been work done there. So just related to that. And then the third item is light stands or light fixtures on roads or sidewalks. Yeah.
Okay. Now I would add this to the item 6, manager's report. Okay, can I put it under 6A, B, and C? And then we can have further discussion on that.
Okay. Mr. Chair, if I could.
Yes. John?
Yeah, thanks. I would just recommend if the committee wanted to entertain a discussion on the southeast beaches in that area, that would be a closed conversation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, then I'd like to change that. So then I'll just put a 6A would be the traffic calming, 6B would be the light shades or light fixtures, and then I would request that after the meeting, I'll try and jump in at the end as well to ask about a closed update then.
Okay, good. Yes. Okay, so we can have 6A and B. And then for the cleanup the Southeast Richmond region be put on the closed meeting agenda. Okay. Linda?
Great.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Could I add 2 items?
Sure.
We got correspondence today about Shell and Williams, and I thought that we were doing some work there. So maybe more this is a manager's update, or if there is some a light there. I think that's the train. There's a train arm thing that's happening there, and so just an update on that, if there's any road improvements going on there. Okay. And then about garbage pickup around the city. Okay. Like at the city garbage can. Thanks.
Okay, so it'll be 6, C, and D. Okay, any further additions? Seeing none, so we'll go on to the agenda. So item number 1, cycling network plan update. So Fred, anything to add to the report?
Mr. Chair, nothing further to add. Happy to answer questions.
So any questions? Alexa?
Thank you. Through the chair, just a question to staff. You talk about the new sort of design of the bike paths that are going to be on number 3 road. And so I was wondering if you might be able to describe them, or if you have a picture that you could show us or something that would better help us understand what it's going to look like.
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, definitely staff can provide such a photo. The report in front of you today is to seek endorsement to go to consult with the public and really to find out the gaps about in the existing cycling network. And in terms of the different type of treatments, that will be forthcoming as part of the second phase of the project.
Okay, thank you. And then I just wanted to comment that I think that the project for the Granville Avenue, that it goes from Garden City to Railway, so it's going to go between our two bike parks and the new bike pump track. So I think that that's a great idea to really make it safe for the kids to get it back and forth between those two sites. So thanks.
Good. Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, this is really great. I think it's, a good time to be doing this. I think a lot more people are cycling these days than ever. And just a question with regards to on our PW 15 with the school district targeting grades 6 and 9. But I mean, I'm sure that all students would have the opportunity to, do the survey if they wanted to, because I think kids before and after those grades cycle as well.
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, absolutely, the survey will be made available to all school kids. In fact, our intention is to provide the information to each of the schools, secondary as well as elementary schools.
Well, that's great, and I know that Hub will be a great resource. I believe they're already working on their list of things they'd like to see. So thanks very much.
Very good. Michael?
Thank you. Through the chair, just 3 questions. One is on page 23 in the proposed survey questions. It's item number 12. I'm just curious. It says it's I or a member of my household purchased a bike in 2020. Do we want it to be as specific as 1 year, or is there an option there where they can change the year to the last year they bought a bike? Or I think we would get a lot more data if that was more than just yes or no for 1 calendar year.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the intention of that question is to gauge whether there's any change in terms of uptake for cycling during pandemics. Certainly, the question about whether there is general interest in cycling, that's covered in first couple questions in the survey.
Okay. Yeah, I guess just thank you through the chair. Then my comment on that was, then if we're trying to judge it during the pandemic, then why not put that in the question? People know when the pandemic started, when that first lockdown hit. Anyway, thought on that. The second question was about the track, the pump, the bike park. Sorry, I forgot the name of it. The new one that's been built by Burnett Secondary there. I just saw a topographical photo of it for the first time, the current development of it, and seeing this as a cycling network plan update, and a lot of cycling routes connect really well to that. I'm not sure if this could be a question here. If this is better provided in a memo, that's fine. But the asphalt that was used for the pump track or the park, it seems to be, people have commented it's an acre of asphalt. Is there anything? I know we've done some unique approaches of using recycled content in roads. Are we doing that on bike paths as well? Because it doesn't have as much weight on it. So, is there any comment on the type of asphalt we're using for bike trails?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, definitely we do try different materials when it comes to our bike facility designs. With respect to the questions about that park, I would need to defer that to a park staff if one of them is available. If not, then we will work with them to provide a response after this meeting.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I think it was just having some information to share with the public on the fact we're not using high grade stuff to make thin layer bike trails, unless it's proven to last forever, then sure. But anyway, I think more information on that, and I think that's a good topic that connects this committee and the parks, and I thought this was the one to bring it up as we administer road pavings and such. My last one was just to briefly, I'm assuming this was going to come up anyhow in the next week or so, but the Bike to Work Week or Bike to School Week and all that starts on May the 31st, the Monday. Is the city planning anything different this year than the usual promotion for getting people to cycle?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, what I can comment on is that the proposed consultation with the public on the cycling network update coincide with the bike month in June. In fact, the survey will go live on Richmond. Let's Talk Richmond on June 1st, and that survey will be on there until end of the month, just to coincide with the June is Bike Month initiative.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. Great timing, and I think that's partly why the Bike to Work Week was placed in that, so it could coincide with all of those great initiatives. So thank you, Chair. That were all my questions, and thanks for staff for being available and taking all that. Thanks.
Okay, very good. So this is staff recommendation. So move and second. So move and second. Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Moving to item number 2, TransLink 2021 cost share programs.
Mr. Chair, I will be doing that presentation as well.
Okay, good. So any questions? Okay.
Move recommendation?
Okay, move and second. I'll call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on. Number 3, sidewalk width standards for major and minor arterial roads. Staff, anything to add to the report?
Mr. Chair, I do not have anything to add to the report, and staff are available to answer any questions.
Michael?
Thank you. Through the chair to staff, my question relates to something I see just down the road. In Hamilton, there's been new sidewalks put in, and the width is terrific. Really pleased about that, and the inclusion of the bus stops and the amount of space in front of the bus bench and the edge of the curb. I think it's terrific. My question is, though, where the curb ends, so on, not the roadside, the residence side, but there's a canal and stuff there, ditch and such. Where the sidewalk ends, it seems like there's a cage of rocks that is what comes next, and it's a little bit higher than where the concrete goes to. So I'm curious, what's next for something like this? What goes over that? Is when it comes to wide sidewalks, what's typically after the sidewalk ends? Isn't it, what I've seen in other parts of Richmond is there's a completed curb that's smoothed over on the edge, and it usually goes down for drainage on that side. But here it's like a cage of rocks. I'm not sure if anyone on staff knows what I'm referring to, if this is used throughout Richmond. I've never seen it before, and it's right now it's prevalent along Westminster Highway in Hamilton.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, there's many different treatments with respect to tying back in new infrastructure to existing conditions based on site-specific conditions at that location. I don't have the details of exactly why the treatment that you described was done at that specific location, but staff can investigate and inform you after this meeting.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, I thought it was just a temporary thing, but to see that the metal edge of the it's kind of like chain link fence width grade metal, and that it's the way it's cut, it's sharp. And my 2-year-old likes to climb on things. So anyhow, I appreciate that if that could be followed up. And no, otherwise I supported the report and the details. I did note in there that New Westminster and was it Coquitlam both had wider sidewalks. I think New Westminster was 2.5 meters. I'm not sure. Was there any reason why some communities had wider? Was there more utilities that they also included in the sidewalks, or was there any identified reason? I don't think I knew that.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the city's proposed recommendations are in range of the other municipal requirements for similar locations and densities. What I can say is that our standards are minimum, both the existing and the proposed, and through specific conditions based on land use, staff can work to implement sidewalks wider than the standard if it's more likely that a higher level of pedestrian activity will occur in those locations.
Okay, terrific. Yeah, I through the chair, I think my final comment then is just, I think New Westminster are a bit constrained with space compared to Richmond when it was built a little bit later and had the ability to have wider sidewalks when they first went in. Anyhow, so I think there are more utilities and other features of other municipality sidewalks that we don't have to contend with as much. I know that the amount of hedges in the front of people's properties and how they kind of balloon out as they grow, that's been one of the common complaints that I've heard from residents. And I know with recycling, it's very different on my street where people put the bins. Like some put it at the edge of the driveway, some put it in the middle of the sidewalk, and some put it past the sidewalk into the road. I think the way sidewalks, maybe future campaigns around sidewalks and how they should function for proper bin placement, I think that might be a piece of education that could be noted for future correspondence. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's all through the chair.
Linda?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have on-table correspondence from a Mr. David Johnson that I received today. So just through you to staff, just wondering, this fellow says he's a developer working in Richmond on some housing projects. So just wondering if you had the opportunity to discuss this with the small builders or any of the other development groups that we normally liaise with.
Through the chair, staff's recommendation is to inform the development industry pending council approval of the recommended changes. We're proposing incremental increase that's quite modest. A 2-meter sidewalk is used in many other parts of the city, and it has worked well pursuing that through the redevelopment process. Of course, every site is different, and we do work closely with the developers on a case-by-case basis to determine the appropriate pedestrian facility as part of their frontage requirements.
All right, thank you.
Well, actually, I have a similar question along this line. I don't know, for this kind of changes, do we need to have a public consultation?
Mr. Chair, this is a change with respect to the engineering design specifications. There's no bylaw associated with this. So staff don't recommend that a public consultation is necessary for this incremental increase in sidewalk width, limited to arterial roadways, and an increase of only 0.5 meters.
Okay, good. Okay, there's a staff recommendation. Do I have a mover? Move.
So moved.
Second. So call the question. Those in favor, oppose, motion carry. Item number 4, multifamily water meters program. Anything to add to the report?
Mr. Chair, I have nothing to add to the report.
Okay, any questions? Michael?
Thank you. I have one question. It, I guess, pertains to page 37, which talks about the analysis for water metering and that it has leak detection. So my question is about when does either existing places with water meter or with the multifamily water meter program, if leak detection is something that's a city service and a benefit of this program, is there statistics on how often the city detects a leak and lets a homeowner or building owner manager know that there is some leak because throughout the night there's a steady stream of water being used and it's abnormal? Is there statistics or benefit that we can show from the existing program?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, yes, certainly we definitely keep track of those statistics, and I believe we have previously reported out on those as well in past reports. But we do have a process as well to communicate that to the property owners.
Thank you. To follow up, just because I dealt with this 2 weekends ago, but I know other people in Richmond have too. The leak detection, if the city does find something, what's the time frame to to notify, do we require a week's worth of data, a month's worth, or 1 day? How quick do those water meters actually turn around to get response? Because if it's a major leak, that's what I'm thinking about. If we're moving to multifamily, these are really large facilities, and if they have a leak, we're talking a lot more water.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, in the past that has have taken longer, potentially over 4 to 5 months. But recently, with the council endorsed fixed-base meter reading system, we're able to do that a lot more frequently. So the system constantly reads the meters in less than 15-minute increments. So we're able to get on that and notify the property owners in a timely manner.
Oh, great, wonderful. Thanks for that update. Thank you.
Linda?
Thanks, Mr. Chair, and through you to staff. Well, this is a really good report and really interesting information. I'm looking at our page 38 at the bottom about the multifamily dwellings. 50% have been metered, and of those, 97% save money. I mean, that's outstanding. So what would be the reasons that they don't save money? Obviously, a water leak would be one. What is it, age of a complex, or what would other reasons be that they wouldn't save money?
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, we haven't noticed any particular trend. Of the complexes that have not saved money, they vary in size, they vary in type. So some are townhouses, some are apartments, and some are brand new, some are old. So there haven't been that many of them, but there hasn't been any particular trend that we've noticed.
All right, thank you. I mean, I think it's a really good idea that we look at going to mandatory multifamily water meter, and we bring it forward in the 2022 budget. And I hope that when we look at that, I mean, this information, I think as a strata, they would be happy to see that they could be saving so much money. I mean, with, the strata fees going up in most places and their insurance costs, this would be, I think, a really good carrot for them that they could be saving some money. So thank you.
Okay. Alexa?
Thank you, through the chair. My question was in line with Councillor McPhail. So I live in a strata, we have a pool, and I think there's some reluctance to go with the water metering program because of the fear of, if we have a leaking pool, is that going to then cost us, a lot more money in water and then, or fixing, or whatever the situation is, right? And so, I feel like our pool is probably around the same age as the Easton Community Center pool, which we know leaks like a sieve until we finally did a $400,000 upgrade a few years ago. So I was wondering if we had any data on complexes with pools and versus complexes not with pools. So if those 3% were the ones that didn't have pools, or if we've even had a lot of buy-in from stratas with pools because of that fear. So.
Through the chair to Councillor Liu, no, we haven't noticed a difference or trend along the lines of swimming pools, but we do quite extensive outreach when we talk about the program and consult the public with respect to our water meter program, because one of the features, incentives that kind of safeguard the strata complexes or property owners from this is we offer a 5-year guarantee that basically gives them a period of time that they won't pay above the flat rate during that time, so they can fix any issues that they have with their system. And beyond that, even beyond the 5 years, we also have a leak rebate that we offer. So anytime a property owner identifies and fixes a leak in their system, they're eligible for a rebate for that leaked amount.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, very good. Yeah, this is a very good report, and I think it's very encouraging to see that while our population is growing, we are also saving more water. And I think this is a very important next step for our water conservation project. So there's a staff recommendation. Any mover? Move. Second. Call a question. Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carry. And now we can go to, manager's report, and it should be 6A. So, Michael, your Hamilton traffic.
Thank you. The question was about out in Hamilton, Smith Road. Oh, geez, I forgot the now. Is it Smith Road or Smith Ave? No, Smith Street, I think. Oh, I can't remember now. There's two of them. I was just looking at. Anyway, it's Smith and Westminster out in Hamilton, the road that takes you to the elementary school community center, and that road that goes past a park, often referred to as the Triangle Park, where there was just sewer work being completed. Last month, two ducks, I think it was the male first and then the female a couple of days later, were hit on the road there. And I know the Hamilton residents in the area witnessed the animals. I'm sure a city crew picked them up as quick as they could, but already it was posted on social media and such. Just to let residents know, there was a traffic study and I believe a survey done to neighborhood residents around traffic calming measures. If that could just be shared right now, and I'm not referring to during the construction, but even previous to that there has been efforts to provide traffic calming if necessary.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, I don't have that detailed information available at this moment, but we can certainly have a look at what we have done in the past, what surveys were done, and report back to the councillor.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think there's to know that these ducks have been there for multiple years and then they're not going to be back, at least these same two, for this reason. I think it's something that residents would like to know. And sorry, it just kind of came up. I forgot to email you earlier on that. So that was all for my item on that. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so the next item?
Thank you. So the one I added, which is I believe 6B, relates to light fixtures, and I had a comment and a question. One is it was right after the last time this committee met. I received comments from a woman who walks the area around Lansdowne and Garden City Road on a nightly basis, and she commented how pleased she was with the new light fixtures at that intersection. She called them a work of art. She thought the black stands were an older kind of heritage style, and the lights that were in there, the LED lights shining through that lens, was just a very nice ambient yet bright color. So with that comment in mind, or that compliment in mind, the other part of this item was we've also received communication. I believe it was to all of council, but I know I've received it from multiple individuals. The new light fixtures that are going into neighborhoods, like around cul-de-sacs and off arterial roads, people are finding them extremely bright. They're the new LED style, and some of the questions I've heard, and I'm not sure if it's gone to staff level yet, but putting on shade covers or some more translucent lens cover, like the ones I just mentioned about Garden City and Lansdowne, where I was receiving compliments to share with the staff on those lights and lenses. But then the people are finding very bright lights shining through their bedrooms, illuminating the curtains that they've had forever, but now they don't do the job. And the fact that Richmond's certified bat friendly, but bats are not necessarily benefited by excessive bright lights all over the city, especially with a lot of reflective surfaces at the ground level. So I'm not sure if staff can comment on if there are options, if we've entertained different lens covers for some of the inner neighborhood LED lights. Thanks.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, there's two different items to deal with there. First, a lot of the lights on the wooden poles, those are BC Hydro lights. So those ones are done to BC Hydro standards. Right now we're in communication with BC Hydro to see if they have options for some less bright lights. they do have the proper color temperature. It is brighter or a higher temperature, and then it's whiter than the older, yellower lights. But it is still in keeping with the current guidance on impacts to human health and to animal health as well. For the city-owned streetlights, we do the same type of analysis. And anytime that we get complaints from the public, we do meet with them, and we can put back shades on them so that it's not shining onto private property to try to address some of those light trespass issues. As far as the level of light, we don't overlight, but however, we do need to provide a certain standard of lighting. And with the LEDs, we also have to account for dimming over time. So as time goes by, the light level will soften a little bit. And another thing to note is a lot of the times when we put the lights in, we're replacing a light that isn't necessarily up to the current standards due to its age as well. So even from that, it will appear brighter most times.
Thank you. If I could just follow up through the chair staff. The guidelines or the current standards you were referring to, are those provincial health standards?
We look at a few different standards, like the American Medical Association and any other ones that are around, the Illuminating Engineering Society as well. Those are the ones that spring to mind.
Oh, okay. I'm also on the, through the chair to staff, I'm also sitting on the Community Safety Committee, and we've just added to the agenda on a monthly basis updates related to light complaints, in addition to where like noise complaints would come in. So maybe just to maybe further the conversations with BC Hydro, that if they could provide the same level of care and attention that you mentioned city lights receive from our staff, I think that's going to go a long way to providing uniform care and service throughout the community, because like you've just described to me, which I didn't know, and I think most residents don't know, is there's this whole separate stream that's BC Hydro lights, and they might have the same standards, so they might fit within the same range, but they're not necessarily the same means. So could you just speak to who would a resident reach out to for either of those cases? So one would be the city 24-hour line. Sorry, I have a call coming in there. The one would be them calling the 24-hour city line, and then what would the second option be? Who would a resident contact?
So just to clarify for BC Hydro, you're asking?
Yeah.
To the chair, I don't have the exact contact information, but we can definitely provide that to you to council.
Then final clarification. How would someone know? Is there a stamp on the post? Is there a way to identify whose light is who?
To the chair, generally speaking, anything on a wood power pole, that is BC Hydro. Anything that is the quote-unquote regular street light with the aluminum pole, typically those are city-owned.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Now, I want to ask a question following up on that. Is there a provincial standard, or, the BC Hydro has its own standards, the city has our own, and then the provincial government has another set of standards? So is there one general standard for the whole city or for the whole province?
Through the chair, as far as lighting levels or for color temperature, or which specific items?
The light level, the level of lights.
In general, we follow the Illuminating Engineer Society levels for street lighting. And my understanding is that is what most of the consulting firms do follow.
Mr. Chair, maybe I'll just add to that too. Certainly the whole area of street lighting has developed rapidly with the LED technology over the last 5 or 10 years. And the availability of things in the market with regards not just to the color temperature of a white light, but there's certainly street lights you can buy that you can turn on any color. The possibilities are endless. So there's companies that market these lights for streets that you want to turn into a parade. So you can make all the street lights red or blue, things like and as Mr. Chan has alluded to, there's when we look at a lot of the installations, You have to consider the deterioration. Any kind of light fixture deteriorates over time. So when you first install it, it's always going to be a little bit brighter. But ultimately, there might be the ability to control a bit of that. And there's also technology available where you can have motion sensing on the lights, and they remain dim, but when traffic comes by, they raise up again. So there's a lot of elements to this that we've explored over the years, and you end up having to implement something that's in quite a narrow band in order to meet all of the safety criteria and control the city's liability with regards to both traffic safety and public safety. But it is pretty detailed and involved. We can certainly, at committee direction or with a referral, give you a more complete report on that, because there is a lot there to discuss and understand. And it is something we're continuing to explore as we move forward.
Okay.
Can we request that information to Chair, to staff? The information that was just referred to, can we get a memo on that?
So can we do that? Can staff support more information?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So Linda, your first item?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to staff. Staff probably hasn't had a chance to look at this. It just came in today, and it was about a petition about Shell and Williams, the email writer saying it's a dangerous intersection and they want traffic lights. And I did look on our report from a couple of months ago. I mean, it is not in the top 20 collision-prone map. I mean, not that means it's not dangerous. I mean, it is an odd intersection. I think anybody who lives in Richmond knows it is, a different intersection. And I was just remembering that there is going to be the work because of the railway track upgrade there. And I'm just wondering, is there anything else going to be done there to make, that we could do? Is something we could do at the time, or is something being planned there?
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, absolutely. In fact, this is funded. It was funded by council a while back, and we've been working on this for a fair amount of time. The challenge, of course, was the railway sometimes makes installation of traffic signals a little bit lengthier process. But I'm happy to say that construction is supposed to begin on the traffic signals this summer and should be complete by March 2022, early next year.
Great. That's good to know. Thank you.
So the next one?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Chair. Again, we received correspondence today about, I think it was today, or maybe it was a couple of days ago, about garbage. And one was at a park and one was just, I think, in Steveston on the whole. And I guess my question through you, Mr. Chair, to staff is, have they noticed an uptick in garbage, during COVID? Because I think people are out anytime they can, get out. And with summer coming, now we're getting into the nicer weather, do we already increase the pickup at the city garbage facilities anyways? Is this just a function of timing, or anyway, just interested in comments?
Through the chair to Councillor McPhail, yes, we have definitely noticed a big uptick in park use from residents during COVID. Since they can't travel anywhere, they are taking advantage of our parks. We have taken measures to adjust to the increased volume, which includes basically litter in key areas of the city is collected 7 days a week. And we have also just recently added an afternoon shift on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, so we can ensure that in some areas, such as Gary Point and the high-use park areas, that those areas are actually serviced twice a day. So we are adding to our staff complement as well through our seasonal hiring process to get more bodies out there. Other strategies and things that we look at, too, are in areas where we have very heavy use. We actually add in-ground containers. So in some parks, such as at McDonald Beach and the No. 3 Road Dog Park, we actually have containers that go deep into the ground so they can handle more capacity. We just have to ensure that we have trucks that can access and service them. But we've definitely noticed an uptick in people getting takeout, going into the parks, and we are adapting our service levels and staffing levels to help keep up with those.
Well, that's great to hear. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So, staff, any managers report? Jason?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. We're just coming up on peak freshet season, so I just wanted to provide a quick update to committee. The snowpack levels in the Fraser Basin as of May the 1st was at 109% of normal for this time of year. The current stream flows are normal. The current peak flow forecast is at 9,000 cubic meters per second. So to put that into context, in 2020, the peak flow was 10,800, and 2018 was 11,000 cubic meters per second. So we're not concerned at this time, but it's still very early. Those are really rough, high-level estimates, and some short-term weather impacts could really change the stream flow. The critical window we're looking at is late May through the end of June, but staff will continue to monitor and provide committee with a summary and a report after the end of the freshet season.
Okay. Any question on this one? Michael?
Yeah, thank you for that update and hearing things in a few different ways to have them described, so percentages and volumes and flow rates and concerned times to be aware. That's great. The question I had pertains to actually last night's event. So I know with heavy rainfall, from what I heard last night, and then what I witnessed when I was in the McNair area today on Williams and Ford, there was some major flooding that hit over probably a very short time. How did the system handle last night?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, the system handled it very well. I'm not aware of any significant issues.
Terrific. Thanks.
Okay. So any other reports? Oh, okay. Fred? Mr. Lin? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update about the province plan to close down Massey Tunnel. The province will be closing down Massey Tunnel in both directions for 2 nights from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. on Friday, May 28th and Saturday, May 29th for scheduled maintenance. Signage will be set up to advise drivers of the closure, and the closure will be in effect for all vehicles except for emergency vehicles.
Any question? Michael?
Thank you. Is this, through the chair and the staff, is this for overhead work in the compartment up above that they're working? Because last time I went through a couple of weekends ago, it was the best experience I've had in my life going through the tunnel. Like, it was so well lit up and clean, and I have to say I've never seen it so good. So do you know what area this routine maintenance is? Because it seems like it's all done to me.
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, our understanding of the closure is to test the tunnel's fire suppression system and overhead lane control signals.
Great. Excellent. Thanks.
Okay, actually, I have a question related to the tunnel. It's not on this particular subject. Now, do we know any further development regarding the tunnel replacement project and any new information on the interchange and the second crossing? So any update on that?
Mr. Chair, no, we do not have an update. I understand that the business case has been with the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure since the beginning of this year, but we have not heard an update on when that will be available to the municipalities or when the project will be funded.
So is staff being contacted by the ministry on a regular basis?
Mr. Chair, no, the ministry doesn't generally contact staff on this issue. Generally, staff contacts the ministry regularly and asks these questions.
Well, I don't know if we should make a motion that we ask staff to bring back a report or some kind of update in our next meeting regarding the tunnel replacement. I don't know what the other members feel. Yes?
Yeah, I'll support that.
Okay, so in that case, I would move that, let's ask staff for an update on the tunnel replacement project and bring it back to the next meeting. Okay, so as you can see, the move seconded. So call the question, those in favor, opposed, motion carried. Good. Mr. Lin, you have something to add? So any more reports?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, staff in transportation do have one more update for committee. As of today, the city has reached its milestone and activated all 110 traffic intersection cameras to go live and start recording. And this is part of the approved phase 1 and 2 of the intersection traffic camera program. The public can make requests and contact the city by phone or on the city's website. To date, we have received requests for 7 recordings, and this has all come from the RCMP.
Any questions? Seeing none? Okay, so do I have a motion to adjourn and go
Move adjournment.
to closed meeting? So the meeting is adjourned and we go to the closed meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and we're